I started by making the seat, and to do that, I'm just going to cut two pieces to the same length, width, and thickness, and then glue them together into one big piece. And now that the glue is dry, I can start shaping the seat. And I've never done this before, but I'm going to try to give the seat a little bit of a curve, so it's a little bit more comfortable to sit in. I'm thinking now that this is probably the least effective way to do this, but the way that I curved in the seat was I used the radial arm saw and the table saw and just made multiple cuts, raising and lowering the blade to stay on the line that I drew for the curve. And that seemed to work pretty well. Once most of the waste is cleared out with the table saw and radial arm saw, I went back with a chisel and a sander. And now with the seat mostly done, I moved on to making the legs, and I just cut off another piece from the pallet wood and cut the legs out at the table saw. I want the legs to connect to the leg supports using like an inlay dovetail half lap thing. So I'm removing half the material for the joint with the radial arm saw, and then I'm going to use my pull saw to cut out the dovetail on the ends of each of the leg supports. And if you don't know what an inlay dovetail is, I'm basically just going to be making a border around the dovetail that I just cut using a different wood. And in my case, I'm going to be using hickory, and I'm just going to cut out some pieces to fit around the dovetails that I cut. Then I slid the inlays over all the dovetails and glued them into place. Now I'm cutting out a spot for the inlaid dovetails to fit into, and instead of trying to figure out the angle of the dovetails with the radial arm saw, I just traced out the dovetails and then cut them out with a pull saw and a chisel. And now I'm going to cut some mortises for the legs to fit into. And to do that, I just traced out the legs on the seat, and then I drilled a hole for the jigsaw to fit into and cut the mortises with the jigsaw. I wanted the seat and the leg joints to be a wedged mortise and tenon, so now I'm cutting a slot at the top of each leg for the wedges to fit into. Now I'm putting the seat onto the legs, and the slots that I cut earlier in the legs were not big enough. I wanted them to be bigger so you could see the wedges better. So now I'm chiseling out the slots to be a little bit bigger. Now with everything put together, I sanded everything, and in the spaces that I couldn't get the sander, I used a card scraper. I also chamfered all the edges of the seat to make it a little bit more comfortable. I could have used a router to do this, but with the curve of the seat, it would have been pretty difficult, so I just used a spoke shave. To finish the stool, I put on a couple coats of polyurethane.